You know, which side people go over more? The American side. Because you're like terrified on the other side, since there's right on here. Right. We haven't had as much freedom ever.
Yeah, sorry about the interruption.
Probably also
Back.
because
Live streaming.
Patrick's here, huh?
Relax.
I think we can, people don't follow shit.
That's right. And the ones that do, you don't know.
That's right.
Either take a swim
You're
or
right.
dive.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was that skateboarder.
Okay, I would like to resume the Historic Resources Commission meeting. I believe we were about to ask staff to introduce themselves.
Yes, Jacqueline Mizell, preservation staff.
Great.
Sure, go for it.
You swear.
Lynn, Adam Fires, planning.
Do swear or affirm to tell the truth of the testimony you're providing today.
I do.
Great, thank you so much. So we have some minutes to be approved, I believe.
We have to introduce ourselves.
Go ahead. We'll start with Ray.
Mike Ford.
Clyde Henry.
Stuart Gibney.
Mega Sana.
Okay, now come on. Thank you.
I move to approve the staff approvals.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us down to,
I move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And then there's no public forum issues today, I'm assuming.
No public forum.
Okay. I guess that brings us down into the applications.
Okay, so application number 2, since number 1, 755 Boone Street was moved to staff approval at the business meeting. Application number 2 is for 792 Kimball Place. So this application was continued at the July 20th, 2023 HRC hearing to allow the applicant time to explore other solutions than the fence that were previously proposed. So the application includes replacing slate roofing with asphalt shingles from the approved list, which would be Owens Corning, 3-tab shingle in estate gray, as well as now installing a single roof mounted power attic vent in lieu of the previously proposed black hat fence. And the applicant did let me know that they were not able to make it today, so they've asked if they could be considered in their absence, but they do understand if there's any questions or concerns that the application might need to be continued to the next meeting for someone to represent the application. And staff recommends approval of application HR 2307027 at 792 Kimball Place as revised. And that staff recommendation is based on the city code 316.11 standards for alteration, particularly numbers 2, 5, and 6, as well as the architectural guidelines for roofing materials on pages 41 and 43, and the amendments to the City of Columbus Architectural Review Commission guidelines for slate roofs and slate replacement. Since there's no applicant, I'll just turn it over to commission.
Any thoughts, concerns?
I think it sounds like they did pretty much as we discussed, so.
And it looks like the power vent is on the side of the building, which is least visible, which is, I think, what we had requested.
Yep.
Right, oh, there it is. Yep, thank you.
Sounds good. How about we entertain a motion?
I move to approve HR 2307027 as presented.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, staff.
All right, so moving right along to application number 3. This is for 1479, 1481 Bryden Road. Over here, so this is for rebuild of a rear porch with the work that has already been completed. So the rear porch was removed in part and rebuilt with the addition of rooftop railings prior to review and approval, so a code order was issued. The rooftop railings have been removed. New wood members of the porch are currently unpainted. The applicant is waiting for their application to be reviewed. It is unknown what the second floor rear doors were covered, plywood. So Sanborn maps indicate one-story frame rear porches. At the August business meeting, the commissioners asked the applicant to submit additional context photos of existing condition and area along the alley, and the applicant has submitted context photos of those buildings. And the commission asked that the applicant check online to see if there's a record of the building permit for the single-story enclosure portion of the rear porch, and noted additional context photos helped to understand why this is currently installed and cues of the neighboring homes. So the applicant did try to attempt some research, but did not come up with any hard permits or dates for the rear porch. The commission confirmed that there were no elevation drawings, as the work that has been completed is what is being proposed. And the commission noted that they will need to evaluate the application as if it were being proposed rather than completed. So staff recommends continuing application HR 2211-014 at 1479 Brighton Road, to allow the applicant time to submit revised drawings that are more in keeping with the Columbus Register of Historic Property Architectural Guidelines, specifically page 15, which references appropriate porch and post railings. And then that staff recommendation is based on the city code 316.11 standards for alterations, in particular numbers 1, 6, 10, and 12, as well as the Columbus Register of Historic Properties Architectural Guidelines for porches and stoops on pages 18 and 19.
All right, shows the.
Sure.
So make a motion to continue HR 2211.
The applicant is here for the
Oh.
application.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Come on up. I misunderstood. Hello, if you'll please introduce yourself,
Brenda Parker, the architect.
and if you would please raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth of the testimony you're providing this evening?
I do.
Thank you. Or this afternoon, rather. Okay. So no luck with,
No, not figuring out when the enclosed area between the two porches was added. No idea. I thought originally that it was a full length porch and they enclosed part of it, but just looking at the other neighboring properties, it looks like it would have been two individual porches. And at some point, they constructed an addition between the two porches.
I guess part of continuation is because the drawings aren't there.
So it's in part for the porches as well. See if we can scroll to photo of the current porch railings. Am I coming up with you? Yeah, that works. Right there, yeah. So typically for porch railings, we don't always approve this style because it's more suburban style with the spindles kind of exposed on the lower portion. They just have that.
Locked up.
On the interior side, and normally that's, on the exterior as well. So that's something that we want to address. And
So
then,
that whole guardrail has been removed. So it's just
Okay.
roof now. So really all that's in question that has been changed is the posts because they were rotted. And the guardrails, the lower guardrails at the stair. That's the only thing that was replaced. The decking is still in place. So we had to replace the framing for that roof because it was rotted. And so that's what the first images were, the rotted wood. And so it has a new roof and it has a new structural framing, but the ceiling was existing. That whole addition was existing.
White.
Porch flooring was existing.
what is the material of the current ceiling over the porches?
It's actually an aluminum.
Is it?
But it was they didn't change it. They kept it in place while they reframed from the top. I mean, you can see that if you scroll back up to those photos of the open. It was some of the first page right there. So you can see they kept the underside of that all in place. They did all the structural work from above.
So what, I'm confused on what is done, what's not done, with so many photos.
So this is the second floor roof.
Okay.
Like when they had tore the roof off and in order to replace the framing that was rotted.
Okay, so what are the approved? Right, things.
We're approving the posts. The posts were, I don't think the framing is an issue of how it was replaced because it's not visible,
Right. And the other thing,
right?
the other thing, Megan, that's a little bit confusing is they undid some of the work they did.
Yeah, so
But that
But
second
that's-
floor railing
It's gone.
is gone.
Right.
So if you look at the current photos where I shared the neighboring properties, you can see what's there today.
right, but not the neighbors, what's there today on this property? Do we have pictures of that?
Well, if you will look at the neighbor, where I took the pictures of the neighbors, this porch is in the background.
Do you have a photo page? Maybe if we could go scroll to say. Oh, this-
Right here,
So starting on page 19, these are current condition.
yes.
Okay, that's.
So no guardrail, post, and then there is
Well, but I think there are.
down below, there's a rail that we. can
Correct.
see.
So I think what's in question is that post that's visible and then the stair and
Stair.
landing guardrails.
Are the spindles in place on page, what is that, 17?
No.
Oh, no, I meant maybe 16. Shows a picture of the porch, I believe.
Yeah, so that's,
That's correct.
This
right,
will-
so the decking was existing, you can see that that's kind of weathered. And so you can tell the new stuff, the new posts and then the new guardrail. And they put in exactly what was there, thinking that that would be acceptable. So I think this is where, you know, do we want to come in with a more historic appropriate guardrail?
Well, I mean, if it's going to be changed, what we're looking at now doesn't comply with code with the
Yeah,
no slats, I would assume we've got at least to address some of those issues. I don't know if the rails are tall enough. I'm not sure what the current height is.
I didn't measure out.
So,
You know, you know how the contractors are, they just think if it's there, they can just replace it as is and it's all good.
They're probably high enough because when they were put in relatively recently, it looks like the old ones were put in within the last 25 years, the gray ones.
so I think it's between 30 and, you know,
Yeah,
42 or whatever.
well, I mean, you
Yes,
gray band ones.
That's a good photo, you can see some of the rail,
20 years.
the rail that wasn't rotted, they kept in place and they just replaced the areas that were rotted.
Yeah, which makes, I mean, those look relatively new, and so I'm thinking that. This,
Whatever was there before, they just redid it.
yeah, but this area
To the
it
back.
has been a historical district for a while, right? So I have a feeling that those gray blue ones that we're looking at were put in after it was a historical district.
Correct.
So the question before us is, are we approving what is there currently?
Yes.
Okay, and I think it's probably a no, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there's a couple of ways we can look at this. We can say that in that gray blue picture there, even because normally we allow replacing in kind,
Okay,
if it was there, then we'll allow replacing in kind. The reason why I don't think we are required to do that in this case is because I think that gray blue stuff was put in illegally to start with. That should have been approved because I think it was
sure,
installed after it became a historical district. I can't see that being grandfathered in
right,
that long ago.
right.
Therefore, I think we,
And additionally, there's no real proof, I'm not saying that it wasn't there, but there's no documentation of what was there, so and it didn't come through the process to be approved.
Correct, I don't know what was
So-
there before.
So we're making a lot of assumptions, I think, to get us to this point to say we're okay with that, which I think it's too many assumptions for me.
Right, same.
And, you know, sometimes the way I look at it is if it were a new application that came in,
Mhm.
is that something we would approve? Does it meet the current conditions for
Right.
the current code?
Like you said, I think it's over 4 risers. So I'm assuming it's gotta be over 30 inches, so it probably, you know,
Complies with the height.
needs code compliant guardrails, in which case we could say they need to be replaced to meet code, and at the same time, we can have them meet the historical guidelines.
Mhm.
So what are you proposing to put in there that you feel is historically compatible?
So what I've done in the past is just use a cedar railing system that has the top cap, it has the balusters, it has a bottom rail, and then it has a sloped bottom rail, and it has then a kind of a vertical bottom rail, if you will, just a simple kit of parts.
And the balusters, the shape of them,
They could just be square,
just
the
square.
1 1/4 inch. Mhm.
Okay, that seems okay.
Could we move it to staff approval if drawings were provided?
Yeah.
Jackie, you felt comfortable reviewing?
I'll submit the profiles of that guardrail as well.
Yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
is a back porch, and that seems like it would be reasonable, that it'd be within the context.
Where do you guys see, okay, do you guys see?
I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah, based on the description, I'd be okay with looking at drawings, and then if it doesn't quite match what we're thinking, we can always bring it back.
Okay,
So before we leave, is there anything related to the post that we think doesn't meet historical guidelines and we should address as well?
what is the dimension on that? Is it,
They
is
look like 6 by 6.
I was gonna say it was pretty.
6 by 6? Is that? What are the neighbors there? That's 4x4.
It's a 4 by 4.
I mean, historically, it'd probably be, if it beefed up a little bit more like an 8 by 8.
Right.
6 by 6, I guess, is reasonable. What do you think? I mean, yeah, 4x4s are almost never allowed, but if that's really 6 by 6.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
I would as well. How do you feel about that?
Sounds good. So we'll just make it all part of stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna paint it all, right?
Yeah, they stopped work once they got the stop work order.
And if you would submit that paint chip as well.
Okay, I already, they need to renovate, replace some rotten wood on the front porch, so I already submitted that. So, but I'll pull those same colors in.
And the railing up above, the problem was not a railing, but that railing.
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
That's suburban railing, I
Right,
understand the
We're not
difference.
saying you can't do a railing, we're just saying
Yep,
that one, okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to be clear.
yep,
And the porch condition that we're discussing, I think we're looking at the one side, but it's a mirror image, right?
it's a mirror image,
Two sides.
correct. Mhm. So we'll do the same on both sides.
Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah, but we're just gonna, I mean, I don't think there's it. We'll make a motion that we're gonna, with the
So,
final.
for HR 22-11-014, make a motion to make this stop approval.
Second,
Any further discussion?
Any conditions?
That the applicant provide the appropriate drawings, color chips, and all other criteria for, as we discussed, for the design to meet historic guidelines.
Okay, second. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so going to our last application, number 5, which is 185 Oakland Avenue, HR 23-08-016. This is for a proposed new parking pad. And so there was an additional application that we saw at the business meeting that was moved to staff approval. This one had a couple of different options at the situational factors the commission wanted to see at the hearing for discussion. So the proposal is to remove an existing brick walkway, fencing, and curb at the rear south elevation, and to remove a southwest tree and replace deck. That work has been completed. And to install a concrete parking pad and concrete walkway per the submitted drawings, and to plant a review bushes. So at the August business meeting, the commission recommended vegetation be added to help screen the parking and vehicle lights, as well as to help keep parking on the parking pad and guide that. The commission noted that the size of the apron seems large and asked if this sizing is due to site conditions or other factors. The commission noted that the location of the parking pad seems off and asked if the location could be pulled closer to the left or west side. And noted that the shifting the location may help the cars within the parking pad as well. The commission noted that with the changes being proposed, such as removal of fencing, walkway, size and location questions, they want to discuss at the regular hearing meeting. As a response to commission feedback, the applicant has submitted a revised site plan with additional yew plantings along the west fence line and the parking pad to be installed 5 feet from the west fence instead of the previously proposed 7-foot distance. The applicant notes they're unable to shift the parking pad further west due to the existing utility pole that's located near the west fence. The applicant notes that the additional feet for the approach is due to zoning requirements from the lot surface, because the lot surface being 2 feet and 3 inches higher than the alley. So staff recommends approval of application HR 23-08016 at 185 Oakland Avenue as revised. The basis for the staff recommendation is the city code standards for site improvements 3116.13, in particular letter A.
So we won't be considering bushes coming down this lot line as well, with the screen sounds.
I thought just there. There's a fence here, so.
Like the applicants here as well. Would we like
Yeah,
to
there's.
invite the applicant?
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
I'm Brian Curry. Representing George Canonopolis.
Great.
Thank you. Introducing yourself. If you'll please raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth of the testimony you're providing today.
I do.
Great, thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
The original reason it was away from the fence was because of that telephone. There's a picture of the telephone pole, and it's inside the fence line, and that's also the highest spot that the property drops to the alley, because the alley slopes down. But moving it over shouldn't cause any issues. We'll just have to paint the pole yellow.
Believe, one of the things I remember from the business meeting, we had a question about the size of that apron. Seemed a little extensive at 10-foot depth. If I'm reading that drawing correctly.
Yes. Well, due to the elevation and the fact that in the very beginning, I have to have a 20-foot radius and the alley is only 14 feet wide.
Just a matter of being able to pull in.
Yes, I have to, the city requires a 20-foot radius there. And if the alley's not 20 foot, I have to put it on the property
Hmm.
for them to get in and out.
Gotcha.
Is there a photo of the perspective of the proposed pad towards the neighbor's house?
No, but there's a side fence, correct? Between you.
There's a fence, correct? Privacy
There-
fence.
There's a fence.
And it's gonna run all the way back?
It runs all the way back.
All right. And it looks pretty rough. There's a little bit of work to do to the fence.
There's a few pieces missing. You get the ones you can see missing, unfortunately. The back it's actually in better shape. Just a shot from the alley might be better. Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem a little large, but I understand it's the elevation change and everything else. What's it really tight to the house? Look, it's 14 feet to the house. It's 18 feet long. Okay, so it's 25 feet.
What keeps people on the pad instead of driving over here?
bushes in the front and bushes in the side.
You're gonna put bushes down the sides as well.
Yes, the new drawing, there's two drawings somewhere on file. One with 7 foot and then we shrunk it down after the
Oh, yeah, here
request.
we go.
Oh, there's the five, there's the additional.
Okay. How about on the, opposite side of that?
There's a big tree.
Okay,
I know the tree looks pretty small right there, but it's a good sized tree and there's really no room to get off to that side. There's also a shed there. But the tree's in front of the shed, not where they drew it, I guess.
big pine tree, I'm assuming that's what you're.
Big pine tree, yeah.
And you're gonna keep the pine, right?
We're gonna, yes, we're gonna try to save the pine, that's the plan.
And I do see, so there's a demolition of a portion of the fence too, right? It's on the alley.
Yes, we're not demoliting the whole fence, just the width at the approach there. See, we're gonna bring the fence over to the approach, clear the approach, and then when the approach stops, finish the fence over. It's still standing there now.
It'll come up to the apron.
Yes,
There's a decent street view of all that condition.
Yeah.
There's a pine.
yeah, there's the big telephone pole.
The only thing that I might want to add is that even though that tree is gonna be there, I would encourage you to put plantings on the other side as well. If you're gonna do one side, might as well do the other, so it keeps
Okay.
people count pad. If the tree makes it, great, hopefully it does. And I know you're gonna handle that carefully to preserve it if you can. And then the bushes will help keep all that together.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Good. Sound good?
Yep.
You wanna slam dunk the last
Sure.
motion? You're on a roll. You're doing great.
Clean sweep.
That's right.
For case HR 2308-016, I make motion to approve, with the caveat that the applicant is gonna add some more bushes to the, is that the west? The right side of the
East
path.
side.
East side,
East side.
east side of the path. So you submit, updated drawings to show that.
Yeah, 5 more bushes and just plug them in just like you got there. We're good.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
All right.
I,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You guys have a good night.
Okay. Any other official
No. other
schedule of
Business.
applications?
No, that was the last application, and no new business or old business.
I make a motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 We are out of here.
That is impressive. I don't think.
We need to set up a picture of this clock at this time.